Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. The first thing I do every single day is check the most recent crypto news. And what I noticed is that right now on the top of most read articles is just XRP, XRP, XRP. And that's quite interesting because today's been a day of crazy market performance of a lot of other altcoins like for example Zilliqa, which are up 50% throughout the day. But even coins like Solana are up even though the news was mostly negative. The news I found was this: Solana network remains functional despite Foundation's public RPCs being offline. And yeah, I think today we have a pretty healthy mix of positive and also some negative crypto news. Very good news for Shiba Inu, very negative news for Velas. As we already stated, some negative news for Solana, even though the price is positive. And our big jokester is back at it again. We have a couple other pieces that we've partially covered before, but you can see this article got 40,000 views. People are very much interested in what's going on here. The Billionaire talking about a massive warning about a crypto implosion and potentially more if we have time for it. So guys, if you're enjoying these daily crypto videos, make sure you press that like button as it is greatly appreciated. Let's try to get to 412 likes. Why? No, let's get to 420. That would be funny. So make sure you press that like button and let's go. First of all, I'm not a financial advisor. It's just for educational and entertainment purposes, but the crypto market's doing good, guys. We already covered it a little bit earlier today that indeed the pump is back. Always respect the pump. Over the last couple of days, a lot of news that I've been reading is just quite negative. For example, more trouble for Binance as the license in Europe is now in question. I still personally use Binance, and even though I personally use Bybit even more, of which there's a link with a ton of bonuses down below at no cost to you, I still think Binance is one of the safest places out there. Even if these licenses are in question, I don't think our money is going to be lost even if something does not work out with the licenses. That might just mean that maybe in the near future, it's not allowed to operate in some sort of places. But I think that's also the worst it's going to get. Now, again, when I'm talking about a lot of negativity, I'm talking about this as well. The ECB's Fabio Panetta. Unbacked cryptos are a vehicle for gambling lacking intrinsic value. Yeah, that's not nice. Again, we're going to leave him in his own opinion, as everybody's allowed to express their own. But I think you guys will agree with me here that saying unbacked cryptos are a vehicle for this because they lack intrinsic value makes absolutely no substantial sense. Again, there are just some entities and some people higher up and lower up that are just against crypto. When I look at my comment section, there's always this little subsection of people who say, "Why are you talking about scams?" And they refer to the entire cryptocurrency market. The comment, "Crypto's a scam," I see quite often. Now, we know though that there's a lot of behemoths as well who are seriously invested in this space, of which a lot of these guys are not showing it just quite yet, even though they've been doing it in the background. However, a lot of that stems back from the fact that right now the regulation is still quite difficult. But things are changing. This article suggests or shows that Fidelity basically said, hey, consider Bitcoin different than the rest because it's more decentralized and it's more desirable as a store of value. I'm going to say Bitcoin is pretty good, but a lot of altcoins are way more potential full. You have to understand this. If something is, let's say, 1 trillion worth of market cap, it's harder for that to double than if something is $1 billion worth of market cap. And for that reason alone, I think Bitcoin is just, even though it's extremely good, less profitable than a lot of other altcoins. And so if I were a major institution that had to follow all these crazy regulations in all these different countries, I might be more careful, sure. But me, I can buy whatever I want. At least as far as I know. Bringing us to one of the most controversial cryptocurrencies out there, XRP. XRP adoption may boom if this Ripple plan becomes reality. This is from a couple of days ago, but still very interesting. Because the lawsuit has been such a prominent piece of the Ripple versus SEC news, we have basically lacked a lot of coverage of the most important underlying Ripple and XRP pieces. What you just have to remember is that the XRP net, I'm going to call it, has been thrown or spread a lot wider than it might meet the eye. Or at least the rails for that have been set already. And the thing is, we won't really understand this. We won't really get this in our faces until the lawsuit is finished, I believe. So to get back to it, I think XRP is extremely undervalued for what it actually does because of this lingering pressure from the lawsuit, which can logically be seen as well that XRP is one of the only cryptos that did not follow along with Ethereum, Bitcoin, whatnot in the big 2021 hike. And again, the fact that it got to $3.50 before in 2017-18, without much product relative to now, and with a lot more decentralization now than before, yeah, there's definitely a lot to be seen there still, and a lot to be discovered, but more importantly, a lot to be realized that's been there all this time that's right now been put in the background. I used to make videos almost every day about the financial system and how Ripple could play a role in that. It's not as if things have changed, and these things take a long amount of time. How long has Swift been around for? Do you think that's easy to replace? If it was, that would have been somebody who did it a long time ago. No, it's not easy to replace. What you have to do is look at the banking standards and try to wiggle your way in some way, shape, or form. Most of the time, to get into this, you have to add to, not try to replace. And then eventually, if you become the behemoth, if, you can potentially throw the others out. But it's funny, because Ripple has been around for what? A decade? Yet it's still called a startup. It's got billions of dollars of value. It's still called a startup because relatively for its niche, it's still very new and very emerging technology. So the most trending Ripple XRP related tweet of today was by far this one. Playing devil's advocate. Anyone know what realistically happens if Judge Torres actually deems XRP to be a security? Brad Garlinghouse already said they'd move abroad, so what will be the scenario for XRP holders? And like Jeremy Hogan said, the US accounts for 25% of the world economic activity. So as a rough estimate or guesstimate, XRP would 25% of its utility. I think he meant to say lose. Now, it's not completely true for two reasons. One, Ripple's functionality is quite limited in the US currently, and so if the US were to be gone, it would only hurt the business by 5-10%. And more importantly, if we're talking about XRP holders in the US, I don't think that's going to change too much. And if we're talking about volume, I don't think that's going to change too much either, because the majority of US XRP holders were not really allowed to trade it anyway, which is kind of interesting if you start to think about it. So the US SEC, what they did right, is look at all these XRP holders and think, hey, you guys need saving. What we're gonna do is dump your price and not let you sell it anymore. It's kind of funny if you think about it. Nah, it's not really funny, I know. But Shiba Inu, a little bit of positive news to kind of twist things around. Trillions of Shiba will be burnt when Shibarium launches. I've covered many occasions why I'm pretty bullish on Shiba. You guys laugh at my face sometimes, but let me just say this. Nothing is too childish to make money on, so to speak. And you might look at this and just think, oh, Shiba is garbage. You do you, my brother, but let me tell you this. The chance that Shiba Inu would do amazing in another bull run is relatively high, and so I'm holding it. That's about it. Am I buying crazy amounts of Shiba? No. Realistically, no. I don't think that's the best for me. But indeed, them being already so huge and having these plans to expand, it's just a pretty good value proposition. I personally think me holding onto my Shiba is a very smart idea. Then, interesting piece. Velas and actually the whole Formula One landscape, crypto-wise, is going to change a lot. I remember going to all these different Formula One races throughout the last year, to Monaco, to Singapore, and interestingly enough, it's going to be a lot more quiet next year, I believe, as Velas, a blockchain project supporting Ferrari, has quit. And obviously, FTX was sponsoring Mercedes, and they're also not in the picture anymore. You still have Binance, you still have, I know for a fact, Bybit. Not sure exactly what other crypto behemoths are in the Formula One realm, but that is indeed a pretty big shocker to the game. Like I said, there was also some slapping news for Solana. Even though the price is doing amazing right now, it's doing absolutely amazing fine. Solana network remains functional, despite Foundation's public RPCs being offline. The Solana's Foundation RPC endpoints are currently offline because of a bug. The blockchain network has continued to perform optimally despite the setback, and apparently the Solana Foundation ran remote procedure call endpoints and they're offline because of bug in the validated client's test release 1.14. People need to change back to 1.13, but that is not so nice to read. I see another article here, interesting. Federal prosecutors subpoena hedge funds over Binance. Ooh. Apparently over in the US, the US Attorney's Office in Seattle sent subpoenas to hedge funds interacting with crypto exchange Binance. The exchange said it was talking to regulators around the world, and Binance has recorded growth in its numbers amidst all the regulatory scrutiny surrounding it, which is another very, very good plus. Even though people are very fuddy regarding Binance, they're still doing pretty damn juicily well, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And then regarding the most fuddy fear article of them all, again, we need some fear in every video, you know? Get you scared a little bit. Get some weekends to get rid of their coins so we can buy cheaper. Now, but in all seriousness, billionaire Mark Cuban warns of the next crypto implosion coming from wash trades. All he's referring to is that exchanges right now are not having the high volumes which they purport they have. That is just so they can balance it with each other and make more money, compete, I should say, and make more money. But in all seriousness, I'm going to say that at least half of all the volume that you're seeing is actually fake. It's not that different from the other major exchanges though. I'd say the only major difference is those guys have to watch out a little bit deeper with how they do it, but it's not as if it doesn't get done right there. And so Mark Cuban says the moment that they find out, the regulators find out exactly how much wash trading is going on and they're going to do something against it, the crypto market is going to implode. And I personally don't believe that. I believe even if this volume does indeed go away, I'm not so sure exactly how much it would change things. He explains that a lot of things would not be liquid, but I personally think this is going to remain around. He says there are supposedly tens of millions of dollars in trades and liquidity for tokens that have very little utilization. Cuban emphasized, I don't see how that can be liquid or that liquid. Again, I think they're going to find ways to do it regardless, so I am personally not too afraid of this. And then one other piece, keep your eyes very much peeled on DCG News, Digital Currency Group. Again, the major party behind Genesis Global Capital, remember that? They owe over $900 million to Gemini. There's also a couple of issues regarding them and Bitfavo, the Dutch or something like that crypto exchange. And just take a look at whatever's going around with DCG. I'm just giving you guys as a tip. Keep your watch out for this because it could be the next Three Arrows Capital, could be the next FTX type of ordeal. Just keep your eyes peeled. That's all I'm saying. They're under investigation, but just make sure you minimize your expose to all this because things might go bad. That's all I'm saying. All right, that's all I'm saying. But all in all, that was it for today's crypto video. Again, if you're looking for a place to trade, I'll always leave some links down below. Those are the exchanges that I use that you get crazy bonuses for at no cost to you. And yeah, hopefully you learned something new. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. And I'm going to see you guys again in another crypto video later today or tomorrow. Who knows? Crypto is always crazy. There's a ton of news to be covered every single day. So hopefully you guys are subscribed with the notification bell, and I'll see you guys soon.